The most dangerous woman in the room is never the loudest one. She's not flirting for position, not angling for approval, not circling men like a job interview she desperately needs to pass. She's doing something far more unsettling. She's not competing. And the moment a man realizes this, something in his nervous system tightens. His posture changes. His generosity wakes up. His interest, which he thought was under control, quietly stops obeying him. Men reward women who don't compete for them because competition reassures male ego, while indifference threatens male identity. A woman who competes confirms that he is the axis of the interaction. A woman who doesn't compete suggests he might be peripheral. Men can tolerate many things, but peripheral is not one of them. This is the part men never say out loud. They enjoy being chosen, but they are far more disturbed by the possibility of not being necessary. The woman who does not compete never signals need. She doesn't rush to clarify her interest. She doesn't perform availability. She doesn't jockey for emotional rank. She behaves as if her life has direction independent of his reaction. And that posture alone rewrites the power structure. Men are trained to believe they are hunters. They imagine themselves as active agents selecting from passive options. Competition flatters this fantasy. Non-competition punctures it. When a woman does not pursue, does not angle, does not adjust her behavior to stay relevant, the man is forced into a position he despises but cannot escape. Observation. He watches, he waits, he measures, and in that waiting, investment begins. The woman who competes leaks urgency. She monitors his tone. She reacts to delays. She seeks reassurance disguised as conversation. Men feel this instantly. They may enjoy the attention, but they devalue the source. Urgency tells him he can relax. He has already won. The game, such as it is over. And men are bored by victories they didn't earn. The woman who does not compete does something far more disruptive. She does not confirm his importance. She does not deny it either. She leaves it unaddressed. That ambiguity is poison to male complacency. Men can tolerate rejection. They rationalize it. What they struggle with is uncertainty about relevance. Am I wanted? Am I optional? Am I replaceable? These questions gnaw. They produce action. Men reward women who don't compete because those women force men to compete with themselves. His effort is no longer about beating other men. It's about measuring up to an unspoken standard. He feels that standard without it ever being declared. Around her, half-effort feels embarrassing. Lazy charm feels exposed. He senses that if he shows up sloppy, she won't protest. She'll simply continue without him. That possibility sharpens him. This is where simps fail immediately. They mistake attention for leverage. They think volume equals value. They chase because chasing feels active. In reality, it's the most submissive position available. The woman who does not compete never chases. She allows men to reveal themselves through their response to her neutrality. Some disappear. Good. Some become agitated, predictable, and some lean in, recalibrating their behavior without being asked. Those are the men worth studying. Men reward non-competitive women with effort, because effort becomes the only way to reassert relevance. Gifts appear. Invitations extend. Time is carved out. Not because she demanded it, but because he senses that without investment, he will fade into the background of her life. Men fear fading more than rejection. Rejection is dramatic. Fading is humiliating. There's a cruel elegance to this dynamic. The woman doesn't need to posture or declare boundaries. She simply doesn't reorganize herself around male attention. She keeps her schedule. She keeps her pace. She keeps her interior private. Men interpret this as depth. Depth intimidates them slightly. Intimidation breeds respect. Respect breeds reward. This is why men with options still fixate on women who didn't compete for them. Options don't impress men. Options inflate them. What impresses men is restraint. A woman who could compete but doesn't signals surplus. Surplus is power. Power attracts investment instinctively before logic ever enters the conversation. Men will say they want women who choose them. What they reward are women who don't rush to choose at all. Choice delayed feels valuable. Choice immediate feels cheap. The marketplace logic men apply to everything else does not mysteriously disappear in romance. It just pretends not to exist. The woman who competes tries to win. The woman who doesn't compete lets men disqualify themselves. This saves her energy and costs him pride. Men feel this imbalance and rush to correct it. They call it chemistry. It's actually discomfort. Men reward women who don't compete because these women don't validate male fantasies. They destabilize them. Around her, he cannot rely on charm alone. He cannot assume priority. He must earn space without being told how. That effort feels meaningful because it is voluntary. Men always value what they choose to give more than what they are asked to give. This is why men become generous without being prompted. It's preemptive. A bid for relevance. A way of saying, notice me, without ever saying it. The woman doesn't need to acknowledge the bid overtly. Acknowledgement would equalize the dynamic. She simply receives it calmly, as if generosity is normal around her. That reaction alone trains men to continue. The men who rage against this pattern are the ones it excludes. They call it arrogance, manipulation, coldness. What they're reacting to is the loss of automatic centrality. They want competition because competition guarantees their importance. Non-competition exposes how little leverage they actually have. Men reward women who don't compete because those women mirror how men want to see themselves. Self-directed, internally occupied, not desperate for validation. Being around her feels aspirational. He elevates her socially because she elevates his self-image simply by not needing him. The mistake people make is thinking this is about withholding. It's not. Withholding is an action. Non-competition is a state. The woman is not performing disinterest. She is genuinely engaged elsewhere. In her life, her rhythms, her priorities. Men sense the difference immediately. One feels manipulative. The other feels immovable. And immovable things reorganize the space around them. By the time a man realizes he is investing more than planned, it's already done. He tells himself he chose this. He did. He just doesn't realize the conditions that shaped the choice were never under his control. This is where things start to get interesting. A man does not fall into obsession because a woman dazzles him. He falls because she destabilizes him. And nothing destabilizes a man faster than realizing the woman in front of him is not trying to secure his approval. She's not managing his moods. She's not adjusting her behavior to stay relevant. She's not competing with other women for his attention as if he's the last resource on earth. She is calm in a way that suggests something dangerous. She would be fine without him. This is where the reward mechanism switches on. Men reward women who don't compete because competition confirms their dominance, while non-competition questions it. A competing woman tells a man, without saying it, that he is the judge and she is the applicant. He relaxes into that role. He withholds effort. He delays. He becomes sloppy because the outcome feels guaranteed. Power makes men lazy when it is unquestioned. The woman who doesn't compete does not give him that luxury. She never places him above her life. She doesn't signal that his presence is necessary for her momentum. And because she never declares her interest too loudly, he cannot categorize her properly. Is she indifferent? Selective? Superior? Men hate unclear hierarchies. When they can't locate themselves in the pecking order, they start spending energy trying to climb. This is where men begin to reward without understanding why. He calls more. He offers more. He makes plans in advance. He becomes attentive in ways he swore he wasn't capable of. Not because she demanded it, but because his ego is searching for confirmation that he still matters. Non-competition creates a vacuum. Men rush to fill vacuums. The woman who competes gives men information too quickly. She reveals her investment early. She shows her hand. She makes it obvious that she is waiting for a response. Men don't punish this behavior consciously. They simply downgrade the value of what is already secured. Humans don't protect what they believe they own. They protect what they might lose. The woman who doesn't compete never communicates urgency. She communicates continuity. Her life appears full, moving, occupied. Men feel this as pressure. Not external pressure, internal pressure. The pressure to rise to a standard that was never verbalized. That is the most effective kind. Men like to believe they are logical, but their reward systems are primitive. They invest where there is resistance, not friction. Friction is loud and annoying. Resistance is quiet and immovable. Resistance suggests structure. It suggests a woman who will not bend simply because he wants her to. And men respect what doesn't bend more than what begs. This is why men often say they want easy women, and then end up resenting them. Easy access removes tension. Remove tension and desire collapses. The woman who doesn't compete preserves tension effortlessly. She doesn't manufacture distance. She simply doesn't erase it prematurely. There's a psychological principle at work here that has nothing to do with romance and everything to do with control. A study published in Psychological Science found that uncertainty about another person's interest increases cognitive fixation and emotional intensity. The mind keeps returning to unresolved variables. Certainty calms. Uncertainty activates. Men don't reward certainty because certainty allows them to disengage mentally. They reward what keeps their attention occupied. And attention is a form of investment long before money or commitment ever appears. The woman who doesn't compete becomes a problem the man hasn't solved yet. He doesn't know where he stands. He doesn't know how replaceable he is. He doesn't know how much access he'll be granted tomorrow. That lack of clarity forces him into effort. Men always work harder when they're unsure of their position. This is where simps reveal themselves. They despise this dynamic because it exposes their weakness. They believe effort should guarantee return. They believe attention should be rewarded automatically. They confuse persistence with value. The woman who doesn't compete ruins this fantasy. She doesn't reward effort indiscriminately. She allows effort to accumulate before it means anything. Men reward women like this because she filters ruthlessly, without ever announcing standards. Standards that are spoken can be negotiated. Standards that are embodied cannot. He either rises or disappears. Most disappear. A few adapt. Those few become invested. And here's the part people misunderstand deliberately. This is not about cruelty or emotional withholding. The woman is not punishing men. She is simply not organizing her inner world around male validation. She is not trying to be chosen. She's evaluating quietly while continuing her life. Men feel this as scarcity, even if she is technically available. Emotional availability without emotional dependence is rare. Rarity creates value. This is why men will often do more for a woman who asks for nothing than for one who asks for everything. Asking frames the exchange as transactional. Not asking frames generosity as voluntary. Men value what they choose to give far more than what they are obligated to provide. At this point in the video, some of you already know this instinctively, but you keep sabotaging it with over-explanation, over-availability, and premature emotional transparency. Insight alone won't fix that. Patterns don't dissolve because you understand them. They dissolve when you replace them with better ones. This is why I offer one-on-one coaching, and yes, it's pinned in the comment section and linked in the description. This is not therapy. I'm not interested in validating your feelings. I'm interested in restructuring your behavior so your outcomes change. Private coaching gives you something generic advice never will: precision. We analyze your specific patterns with men, where you leak power, where you rush intimacy, where you compete without realizing it. Then we rebuild your positioning so men respond differently without you saying a word. Women who choose private coaching don't want reassurance. They want leverage. They want to stop repeating the same humiliating cycles with different faces. If that's you, the link is there. This is what my weekly newsletter looks like. This is where I sometimes say things that YouTube doesn't let me say. I'll be sending 3 weekly, and make sure to check under promotions or spam folder for my emails. And since people keep asking, the landing page is done. I've added it to the description and the pinned comment. Go look at it. Read the free PDF. Watch the free video. They're there to recalibrate how you think before you ever change what you do. Subscribe to the newsletter while you're there. That's where I say the things I won't say publicly, because I don't feel like arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding me. Also, the feminine game is open for pre-order. That's where the material goes deeper. Structure, psychology, and execution. Not motivation, not slogans, systems. The women who move first always end up ahead. The ones who wait are still asking the same questions a year from now. Now back to the man. Men reward women who don't compete because these women force men to earn relevance. He can't assume access. He can't assume priority. He can't assume emotional centrality. Assumptions make men lazy. Uncertainty makes them attentive. Around her, he notices his own behavior more. He edits himself. He shows restraint. He thinks twice before disappearing. He senses that disappearing might not provoke a reaction, and that terrifies him. Men want to feel missed. They do not want to feel forgotten. The woman who doesn't compete makes forgetting plausible. That possibility is enough. Men begin to invest, not because they are noble, but because they are strategic. They feel that if they don't deepen their presence, someone else might. Or worse, no one will. And she'll remain untouched by male significance altogether. A woman who doesn't need male validation threatens the entire male reward system. She doesn't reflect his importance automatically. He has to earn reflection. This is why men will often elevate these women socially. Introductions, invitations, inclusion. It's a way of anchoring her, of placing a claim without saying it out loud. Men like to secure what they don't fully understand, and the woman lets them try. She never reassures excessively. She never rushes to close the loop. She allows silence. She allows space. Not as a tactic, but as a byproduct of having a life that doesn't revolve around male response times. Men misinterpret this as depth. It might be, or it might simply be discipline. Either way, they respond the same. By now, you should see the pattern clearly. Men don't reward women who don't compete because those women are nicer, purer, or more deserving. They reward them because those women create an environment where male effort becomes necessary again, and men respect environments that demand effort. This is where things start to become irreversible. There is a moment men rarely admit to themselves, usually because it arrives quietly and rewrites their hierarchy without asking permission. It's the moment they realize the woman they keep rewarding is not the one chasing them, not the one competing for their attention, not the one auditioning for approval, but the one who never entered the contest at all. Men reward women who don't compete for them, because competition flatters male vanity, but kills male respect. A woman who competes signals that his attention is the prize. A woman who does not compete signals that his attention is optional. Men posture all day about wanting to be desired, but what they actually respond to is autonomy. Desire excites them briefly. Autonomy unsettles them permanently. The woman who doesn't compete forces a man to confront an uncomfortable question. If she's not trying to win me, what exactly is she winning without me? That question gnaws. It erodes certainty. And certainty is the oxygen of male laziness. Take it away and watch what happens. Men say they want women who choose them. What they reward are women who don't need to. Need invites complacency. Independence invites calibration. When a man senses that a woman's life continues with or without his participation, he starts behaving differently. He listens more carefully. He shows up sharper. He invests without being asked. Not because she demanded it, but because she never did. Competition reassures men that they are central. Non-competition threatens that belief. And men, despite their bravado, respond to threat with effort. A woman who competes over-explains herself. She tracks his reactions. She adjusts her behavior to maintain proximity. She leaks urgency. Men feel that urgency like heat, briefly pleasant, quickly overwhelming. A woman who does not compete remains internally occupied. She has momentum that predates him. He enters her world as a participant, not a destination. That distinction changes everything. Men reward what feels rare, not rare in numbers, but rare in posture. Women competing for male attention are abundant. Women who remain self-directed in the presence of male interest are scarce. Scarcity reorganizes value systems faster than logic ever could. This is why men elevate women who don't scramble for position. They bring them closer socially. They offer resources. They extend effort. They do favors they pretend not to notice. It's not generosity. It's instinct. Men invest where they sense leverage might slip away if they don't. There's a particular humiliation men experience when they realize a woman isn't trying to secure them. Not overt humiliation. Something subtler. A quiet dethroning. He's used to being the axis around which attention spins. She doesn't orbit. She passes through. That movement alone reorders his priorities. The men who resent this dynamic call such women cold, arrogant, or ungrateful. These are the same men who mistake attention for worth and effort for love. They want competition because it allows them to win without changing. Non-competition demands evolution. And evolution is expensive. Men reward women who don't compete because these women don't inflate male egos. They refine them. Around her, sloppy behavior feels embarrassing. Half effort feels visible. Empty charm feels thin. He senses that access is not automatic, and men treat conditional access with reverence. There's research that brushes up against this truth without daring to say it plainly. A study published in Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals perceived as less dependent and less eager for approval were rated as more attractive and higher status, particularly in romantic contexts. Independence signals power. Power attracts investment. Men read this even when they can't articulate it. The woman who doesn't compete never explains why she's not competing. Explanation would be competition in disguise. She simply doesn't rearrange herself around male interest. She doesn't chase clarity. She doesn't rush intimacy. She doesn't negotiate her pace. Men notice. And what men notice but cannot control, they reward in hopes of gaining proximity. This is why men become strangely generous with women who don't ask. They sense that asking would cheapen the exchange, so they offer instead. Time, attention, protection, access. They call it choice. It's actually pressure. Pressure created by the fear of irrelevance. And here's the part that infuriates the wrong audience. Women who don't compete don't need to strategize constantly. Their power is structural. It's built into how they move through the world. They don't posture. They don't threaten. They don't perform scarcity theatrically. They simply don't behave as if men are the organizing principle of their existence. Men reward that because it mirrors how men want to see themselves. A man wants to believe he is self-directed, not needy. A woman who embodies that same posture becomes aspirational. He elevates her because she reflects the version of himself he respects. This is why men who have options still fixate on the woman who didn't angle for them. Options don't impress men. Standards do. And non-competition is the highest standard there is. It says, I am not here to win you. I am here to live well. If you add value, you stay. If not, you dissolve. Men can't argue with that. They can only respond. And now we arrive at the quiet conclusion most people miss. Men don't reward women who don't compete because those women manipulate them. They reward them because those women don't need to. Needlessness is the most destabilizing force in attraction. It strips men of the illusion that they are the prize by default. That illusion dies hard. When it does, investment begins. If you recognize people in this video and felt an uncomfortable sense of clarity, that's not an accident. Patterns become obvious once you stop romanticizing them. If you like this video, subscribe. The next ones go further, and they don't soften the edges. And I want you to comment honestly. Have you noticed men lean in when you stopped competing for them? Or did they vanish the moment you made yourself unavailable for the game? Welcome to the dark side of your mind, an armory disguised as advice. Everything here exists to give you clarity sharper than the games being played against you. The reading is where I dissect your situation with precision. What he meant, what he didn't, what you missed. About 1,000 words, plus one follow-up question to tighten the strategy. The case file is the full autopsy, a complete psychological breakdown in writing, plus a private audio message so you hear the parts most people avoid. One follow-up to lock it in. If you want speed, there's the whisper. 400 words. Direct. Unfiltered. No extra dialogue. If you prefer tone and voice, the weight of the message itself. The transmission gives you a private audio response. No follow-up. No hand-holding. And if your situation is messy enough for multiple angles, buy 2 services, and the third is free. Strategy rewards commitment. If you want the truth delivered publicly, without exposing yourself, there's the public whisper. 1 question, 1 strategic answer, posted for others to learn from. Short, clean, no follow-up. You already know why you're here. You ask your question, and within 72 hours, you get clarity most people never develop. Emotional discipline, psychological leverage, the ability to stop repeating patterns that drain you. The dark side of your mind isn't here to soothe you. It's here to change how you move.